Good Saturday afternoon. Sorry about the late start. There was a time conflict. This is Ray, but don't worry about me because all you need to worry about is Magnum and Uncle Lou. Why don't you all introduce yourselves and the name of your show, and let's get this rolling.
All right, what's going on, guys? I'm Magnum. I got my co-host here with me, Uncle Lou. We're going to start everything off. We're going to introduce ourselves a little bit. I've been doing YouTube videos in a trash-talking circle, otherwise known as the TTC, since 2009, so I've kind of been around for a little bit. Uncle Lou's been doing it for about 3 months. So, Uncle Lou, tell us how you became a Georgia fan.
Well, born and raised here in Georgia. I live in Augusta, about an hour outside of Athens. Yeah, I've been a Georgia fan for a while now, which is good. I live and die with the Dogs. To me, there's only 2 seasons, football season and the rest of the year. It's like a religion, and I love the Dogs.
Yes, sir. I've been a dog fan myself since I can remember. I remember back in the mid '80s. That's about as far back as I can remember. So I vaguely remember the good times, but I definitely remember the '90s when we really wasn't that good. We had to deal with those guys up in Knoxville beating us every year, but that's kind of changed now. But then Mark Richt came around and turned us around. And granted, a lot of people have been saying that he's kind of underachieved, but you know what? He's been getting us to the SEC championship game quite a bit, so at least he has us competing. So we're right there in the thick of things every year. And I guess we'll get everything started off. The main topic this off season's been, of course, Hudson Mason and how, if he can come in and fill in Aaron Murray's shoes. But me personally, I think he's going to be okay. I really don't think he needs to be the Aaron Murray type quarterback. I see him kind of like a A.J. McCarron. As long as he can be a game manager because he has so many weapons around him. And we have arguably one of the top 3 running back cores in the nation. So, Uncle Lou, what do you think?
I feel a lot the same way. It's hard to say with a quarterback that sits around like that and doesn't get much chance to play. I'm not going to make any type of bold predictions that he's going to be, the next best thing or anything like that. I think he'll definitely know the offense. I don't think we'll have to scale anything back. He's been there long enough. He should have the playbook without a problem. But anytime I see a senior getting their first start as a senior, it does make me a little worried, especially with the way college football is today. A lot of these guys, they want to play now or they'll transfer out, and so it just makes me wonder, is he just that big of a Georgia fan himself that he was willing to wait for his turn, or did he really have no other options? You don't see a lot in today's college football, somebody sitting around like he did, waiting on his turn, and then being, an amazing quarterback. But with that being said, I do think he knows the offense. He won't have a problem there. I don't think we'll have to scale anything back. He should be able to run the offense the same way Aaron Murray ran it. He's not Aaron Murray, obviously, but even Uncle Lou can turn around and hand the ball off to Todd Gurley. That's not, that should be no problem. And you said it yourself. Todd Gurley, Keith Marshall, the 2 freshmen we have, Sony and Nick Chubb. I look
forward to Popeye. Can't forget about old Popeye, old Brendan Douglas.
Yeah, he's actually from the same town I'm from. He's from Augusta. He went to the Catholic high school here where I live, so he has a real big fan base in Augusta. And he's a beast. They call him Hulk, and he looks like it too. He's built like a tree stump. I could watch that highlight over and over again of him running over that Florida guy from the game last year. That was just unbelievable. But I think Hudson Mason will be okay. I think he'll be okay. With the running back situation, everybody knows how deep we are there. With wide receiver, we've got some guys coming back too. Chris Conley, Michael Bennett, Justin Wesley, Justin Scott Wesley, I think his name is. He's got the weapons. As long as Hudson Mason doesn't lose us any games, I don't think we're going to need him to win us a bunch of games. As long as he's not losing us a game, then I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, and like you said a while ago, anytime a quarterback comes in and, his first, start as a senior. But the thing about Hudson Mason is he did get a couple starts under his belt last season, and his first start last year was against Georgia Tech on the road, and he throws for 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Now, to me, getting your first start on the road in a big-time rivalry game, I think it was pretty impressive. And he showed poise because when we were down, I thought, 17-0 or 20-0, and he actually led us back to get that win. That reminded me a lot of Aaron Murray. He stayed calm, and, at the end of the day, we got the win. And, of course, you were talking about Brendan Douglas and him running over that guy from Florida. Well, you remember he did that same thing at South Carolina. I think it was actually his first carry, as a matter of fact. He, trucked 2 or 3 guys on one play, and it completely caught me off guard. I was like, who the hell is this guy? And so, he's definitely a power back, and anybody that wants to go head up with him, I wish you luck because you're going to get hurt. And like I said, we've got all these receivers coming back. Malcolm Mitchell, Michael Bennett, Justin Scott, Wesley, Jonathan Rump should be at full strength because, he had that hamstring issue last year, and that's a 6'5" receiver out there. So we've got all these guys coming back. Reggie Davis, who I believe is a sophomore this year. So we've got so many weapons that Hudson Mason just needs, like you said, just take care of the ball. We don't need him to lose us any games. That's my personal take.
I think that's the main thing. Distribute the ball, ride the horses that you have. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be running the ball minimum 30, 35 times a game.
Definitely.
There's no reason anybody should be tired or wore out. We can rotate people in and out. Now, obviously, Gurley is, the best we have. He's one of the best in the nation, probably the best in the nation. But we don't lose that much to give him a couple of plays off and bring in a Keith Marshall or a Brendan Douglas or a Nick Chubb even. So I'm not too worried. I think he'll be okay. And real quick on Malcolm Mitchell, because I know this is something that just broke yesterday with him re-injuring his knee again. From what I'm hearing, it's nothing major. I know he had to have surgery on it, but it was just minor arthroscopic surgery, so it's not like they had to cut him open or anything like that again. And from what I hear, he will be ready for the Clemson game. I know the coaches are saying, what they're supposed to say, which is, we're not putting him on any type of timetable, and he'll play when he's ready to play, and blah, blah, blah. But I look for him to be ready to go in the Clemson game, whether he's 100% or not. I don't know, but I don't think it's definitely not anything major like it was last year. So I look for him to make a pretty quick comeback here.
Well, that's definitely a good thing because we're going to need all the offense we can get on Clemson because now we, I don't know about everybody else, but me personally, I think Clemson's defensive stats were a little inflated last year because when you play teams like Wake Forest and Syracuse, you're going to look pretty good. But the strength of the Clemson defense is the defensive line. Their secondary, they have a lot of questions, just like we do in the secondary. They got a pretty decent linebacking core, but in my personal opinion, I think Georgia has the better linebacking core. We returned 2 of the top 3 tacklers in the SEC, alongside Leonard Floyd, who is a monster. And not to mention, Clemson has to, I think they're only returning 5 starters on offense. So they lost over half of their offense. So I think Clemson's in for a long day. Even if we, I think we could actually be all right without Malcolm Mitchell because I really don't see their offense moving the ball a whole lot, especially with guys like Ray Drew and Jordan Jenkins. Didn't mention them. You got to throw them in there. I honestly see Georgia winning that game by 10 points, and it's in Athens. So
I see it about the same way. I've tried to be careful not to make any, outlandish predictions or anything like that. Obviously, I think Georgia's going to win every game by 50 points. But realistically, I don't expect this one to be close either. I feel the same way, somewhere in the 10 to 14 point range. I just don't think Clemson's going to have the offense to keep up with Georgia this year. I just don't see it happening. I look for Georgia to probably score around the same amount of points they scored in last year's game, mid to upper 30s, 42 maybe. I can't see Clemson scoring over 30 points in this game.
I think they'll be lucky to score 30.
You can't. They can't replace Taj Boyd and Sammy Watkins. I don't. I hear what they say, but the bottom line is they just don't have the talent there to replace those two guys. It's just not there. Period. And they're going to miss those two without question.
Definitely.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, I definitely agree that. They can name off names all they want to, but look at us back in 2009. We had to replace Matt Stafford and Noshawn Marino in that same year, and look what happened to our offense. It fell off. And anybody that thinks that you can just immediately replace your two superstars, and I'll give Clemson credit that Taj Boyd was one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, and Sammy Watkins was one of the best wide receivers in the nation. You can't replace that with just names. There's just no way. You just don't lose that kind of production and immediately get back to right where you were. We've been there. We've seen what happens. So I'm realistic. I don't know about Clemson fans, but I would be a little worried if I was a Clemson fan. I'm sorry.
Well, I would too, and I keep hearing them say, well, that's why we've been recruiting all these 4- and 5-star players. We've got people ready to step up. Well, who are they? Because and you don't have to take Uncle Lou's word for it. Rivals, which is a pretty well-respected publication that ranks recruits and things like that. You can go back and research it if you want to. Over the last 10 years, Clemson ranks around number 22, mid-20s in recruiting. Over the last 10 years, Georgia is number 2 in that same 10-year period, and there's just no debating the amount of talent. From the beginning of the roster to the end, it's not even close between Georgia and Clemson. Now, you're going to have an occasional year where a team like Clemson gets a Sammy Watkins or even a Taj Boyd, who arguably, either one of those players probably could have started at almost any school they were at, Sammy Watkins in particular. But they don't have the talent 2 and 3 deep that you have at Georgia and in the SEC in general. It's just not there. So when you lose Sammy Watkins, I don't care which 4- and 5-star recruits you claim you have, there are no more Sammy Watkins on your roster. They're just not there.
Yeah, I agree. You can have a complete roster full of 5-star caliber players, but until they actually get on the football field and take a snap and get involved, you don't know what they're going to do. How many times have we seen 5-star players come out and immediately fail? They don't cut it. You can look good on paper, but until you get out on the field and perform, you might as well be a 2 or 3-star because you haven't proven anything yet. Some of these 2 and 3 stars can come out and be superstars. Every Georgia fan should remember David Green and David Pollock. Those guys were 3 stars coming out of high school, and they ended up playing like 10 stars.
Yeah, it happens every year. It happens all the time, and it's not just at Clemson. And it's not just at Georgia, but you look up and down in your roster, there's 5-star recruits who never panned out, and there's 3-star recruits who were first-round draft picks. You just never know. The difference is there's more at Georgia than there is at Clemson. At Clemson, you're getting, if you're lucky, 2, 3, 5 stars a year, maybe. And if all those don't pan out, well, then you're looking at another 6-6 season. At Georgia, we have some that don't pan out without question for one reason or another, whether they, just aren't as good as advertised or whether they're shown the door. Either way, we lose some, but we have more of a pool to draw from when we do lose them than a school like Clemson. So, I don't look for it to be close. They beat us last year. I'm not going to make any excuses about that game. If you're a Georgia fan or a Clemson fan, you watch the game.